Your boy is back. Your boy is back. Holy. We're on all platforms right now, excluding Twitter. By the way, you know, our Twitter streams are just an experiment. I want to let y'all know we've streamed twice, I believe, on Twitter. Is it twice or three times? Every time we've hit a million. Okay? Had a million views. We're still trying to figure out the platform, so we're not gonna stream live there all the time. You guys should know our home base is Rumble, rumble.com. You guys should go make an account. Please go to rumble.com/c/academics. That's where my channel resides. Lots to get to today. I'll save you the suspense. Drake ain't dropping tonight. He's not. There's so much to be discussed because there's multiple pieces of chess happening. I've always told you before I even knew Drake, hey, I'm just a big Drake fan, right? I've told y'all that. Fortunately, these days I could ask him a question or two. He'll answer, I guess. But that's been me from day one. Go back, go watch. I've been covering hip hop for damn near 15 years. Drake's been my favorite since day one. I didn't change teams. I'm not a bandwagoner. That's what it is. I guess it's not really important because both men involved in this kerfuffle don't really speak that much. Drake don't really speak publicly that much, and Kendrick definitely doesn't. So people want to make me the face of whatever Drake feels or thinks, which I would say that's incorrect as well. Okay? But the person who said that Drake was dropping today, I think they've been campaigning to be the face of what Kendrick thinks. It's a DJ from out of LA. Shout out to DJ Head. Got no problem with you. Don't know you. Pretty sure you've had probably whatever you probably said about me in the past, but I don't care. The point is this. Drake ain't dropping today. We're probably going to go into day 3, which will be tomorrow. Day 3 of Drake not responding to Kendrick. And I'm keeping a timeline just like how I kept the timeline with Kendrick. Okay? I believe that Drake, if he doesn't respond in 17 days, we're going to put him on a standing 8 count. That's a fact. That's what I would do with Kendrick. Okay? So, I'm trying to be fair as possible, but I won't lie to y'all and just be like, oh, I don't hope one side wins or the other. Anyway. I've been sitting back and taking in everybody's opinions about what is going on. Who's the victor so far? Who's up? Unanimously, I haven't heard anyone say, whether on either side, that Drake delivered a knockout punch, nor did they unanimously say that Kendrick did that either. So this is an ongoing battle. I'll tell you where I stand on the battle, and you can tell me where you stand. I think it's a very close competition. Depending on what you like, depending on who you're pulling for, depending on what style you like, you might have Drake or Kendrick winning this first round. I've scored it 10-9 Drake. Push-Ups versus Euphoria. Euphoria is a stellar track. Don't let anything I'm saying make you feel like it's not. It's an amazing track. Criticisms about the track? Well, it's repeating a bunch of shit that a bunch of other people have said. And we don't think this beef is going to be decided by just repeating talking points. You're either going to have to showcase a high level of rapping, or you're going to showcase that the person that you're going against, is a complete fraud, or you could expose something about them that no one knows. That's the point. So yeah, I have it very close, 10-9 Drake. But by the way, if you have it 10-9 Kendrick, I'm not mad at that either. Kendrick took an approach of, I'm going to allude to every angle that I could get at you at. I particularly feel that why Kendrick did that is because he's doing what people thought Drake was doing with the possible AI release that people found out was push-ups later. They're like, oh no, well Drake was just trying to feel out the, like see if people liked it. That's why he leaked it first, which I've heard he didn't leak it. And actually, he only sent the real version around because he felt the leak sound horrible. Okay? So apparently he wasn't with the leak, but who cares about the truth when the lie's more entertaining, right? I think Kendrick is feeling out the crowd. We're gonna get into some minute details in the Kendrick Lamar's response on Euphoria. Kendrick mentioned about 30 angles he could get at Drake about. You're not black enough. Cultural appropriation. We think you like little kids. We think you got your abs done. There's a shit ton of angles that Kendrick alluded to. One of the reasons why I didn't give him the win for the first round is that offensively, what did you do? So you're feeling like I'm gonna compare this to boxing a lot. He's feeling out his opponent, no Diddy, and he's like, well, will the uppercut work? Will the left hook work? With the straight right work? Will the jab work? Like, he's trying to figure it out, but he doesn't know the remedy yet. Drake was trying to do the same, except I think Drake tried to go on the offensive, or at least made it a bop. Okay? All right. Anyway, a few things to analyze here is because, some of y'all might be like, Ak, what are you talking about? Kendrick went down a whole rabbit hole. And by the way, I'm here to also call cap on what Kendrick said. So Kendrick in Euphoria, he mentioned something, but he said, what he said? Hold on. Anyway, he says we ain't got to get personal. This is a friendly fade. We should keep it that way. I know some shit about niggas that make Gunna wanna look like a saint. They say about critics, blah blah blah. He basically also said, "Yo, I'm not gonna be calling around." I don't know where he says that, but he says, "I'm not gonna be calling around trying to get information or dirt on you, right?" And I'm here to tell you that he already did it. He already did it. Let's analyze a few bars, okay? Most notably because I seen this thing popping off today on social media, and I even posted it because it's irrelevant. And it says this. Listen to this, chat.
It's been an over decade-long feud, and now a new Kendrick Lamar diss record targeting Toronto's own Drake has one local Chinese restaurant caught in the middle, but in a good way. New Ho King on Spadina was mentioned in the song Euphoria, and now the owner says they have since been showered with 5-star reviews.
Talk about me and my family, Crody. Someone go bleed in your family, Crody. I be a New Ho King.
Now, I'm going to paint a picture to y'all that Kendrick has done his research. Okay? Kendrick starts off like a stanza by saying, "Don't speak on the family, Crody. It could get deep in the family, Crody. Talk about me and my family, Crody. Someone's going to bleed in your family, Crody." Then he says, "I be at New Ho King eating fried rice with dip sauce and a blammy, Crody." Now, those might just seem like a nice little rhyme scheme, but let me explain. I'm going to keep playing this again.
Long feud, and now a new Kendrick Lamar diss record targeting Toronto's own Drake has one local Chinese restaurant caught in the middle, but in a good way. New Ho King on Spadina was mentioned in the song Euphoria, and now the owner says they have since been showered with 5-star reviews.
Talk about me and my family, Crody. Someone go bleed in your family, Crody. I be a new Hawk King.
New Hope King.
There you go.
That's right. I'm trying to learn how to sing the song now.
Johnny Liu is the owner of New Ho King in Chinatown. He says since last night, his phone has been blowing up with messages.
This morning, a lot of people text me. They said, "Oh, look at that. That's your restaurant?" I said, "Yes." And they said, "Oh, look at that. Look at the song."
Don't speak on the family, Crody. You can get deep in the family, Crody.
In the song, Kendrick Lamar jokingly pokes fun at the Toronto accent and slang. He then specifically mentioned the restaurant and their fried rice.
I be a new Hawk King eating fried rice with a dip sauce and a blammy, Crody.
He said, "Good food and might be the fried rice. Get more rice. The chef gonna be busy."
Since the song was released Tuesday, Google reviews for the establishment have been soaring with positive feedback, with most mentioning the song and their now famous dish.
Whoa, 7 minutes ago.
So people
Okay.
are mentioning the song that Kendrick.
Yep, I see that Kendrick's a good guy. Oh my God.
Liu says he expects more customers will be stopping by since he's been receiving this international attention. Even today, customers we spoke to said they made their way to Chinatown to try the fried rice, thanks to the American rapper.
I came all the way from Markham just to see this fried rice, man. Kendrick Lamar, you gotta pay respect to K-Dot, man. Ever since he dropped the diss track, I was like, I gotta visit this place.
Okay. Sounds good. Now, let me just be very frank and very clear. New Ho King has never in his entire existence for years and years been known for their amazing cuisine. Let me be very, very clear. So this, like, it's not like Kendrick did a Yelp review. He's not Keith, what was that nigga name? The Keith Lee. He didn't be like, oh, go check this out in Toronto. This is my favorite spot to eat. This is Kendrick who did some research. Okay, now let me give you the significance of this whole New Ho King spot that Kendrick alluded to on the song. By the way, I want to keep reminding y'all, when did he mention that song or that restaurant? He says, don't speak on a family. He's responding to Drake speaking on his family. You know, when people speak on your family, you could get dark. So don't speak on a family, Crody. It could get deep in a family, Crody. Talk about me and my family, Crody. Someone gonna bleed in your family, Crody. I be at the New Ho King eating fried rice. Now, let me get back to this. So, this is a spot. I'm telling you, in the history of Toronto, I'll tell you the significance of this spot. It's a after-hour spot. You know one of them spots that might be in your city where after you hit one club or two clubs, it's the only place that's open that when you mad drunk and you need to get something to eat, it'll stay open mad late. That's the spot, okay? Now, it's not the spot for the entire Toronto, but if you're in Little China, which, by the way, this is in Chinatown, in Toronto. There's a Chinatown in pretty much every major city, right? This is in Chinatown. This is why I'm telling y'all that Kendrick did his research. You want to know the significance of him saying New Ho King? I told you it's not the food. Let's go over some very drastic things. Okay. So, and by the way, salute to this page because we played this last time, but this page is valuable information. Mind Soul 6. You guys are great. Now, this is recapping when Drake got robbed in 2009 in Toronto.
One of the wealthiest. With that amount of money and fame, you attract attention from all sorts of people, and some of them have malicious intent. So as a celebrity, it's natural that you end up hiring a security team to protect you. When it comes to Drake, well, he's basically untouchable. He walks around with a squadron of top-tier meatheads who are known to be rough with people and overstep boundaries. One of his bodyguards was even the subject of a YouTube video where someone was pointing out how terrifyingly huge this guy was. Now when Drake travels by car, it's with a convoy of black SUVs, filled with bodyguards dedicated enough to step into traffic and block cars so his entourage can merge. Basically these days, you won't catch Drake without a small army of defendants, especially in his home city. For added protection in Toronto, he's even connected with local gangs like Reps Up and G-Way Boys, giving him not only a sense of safety within the city, but also some type of street credibility. This made Drake more comfortable in Toronto, comfortable enough to build a luxurious mega mansion in Bridles Path. But this is the current Drake. He wasn't always the sheltered, established rapper that we see today. In the early years of Drake's career, he's what you would call green behind the ears, and he didn't think that private security was needed while in his home city. This was surprising, considering he made a comment to New York Times around then, telling a reporter that he felt unsafe in Toronto at all times. His inexperience as a celebrity would eventually lead him to being robbed. And I don't mean the multi-million-dollar jewelry heist of his tour bus in 2016. That happened in Phoenix. I'm talking about the armed robbery at gunpoint that went down over a decade ago in the city which Drake calls home. This event occurred in the evening of May 31st, 2009. Then 23-year-old Drake was having dinner at a restaurant in Toronto's Little Italy.
Okay. Now this is very important because what people are now drawing from this Kendrick Lamar song is not true. New Ho King, that restaurant, is not where Drake got robbed at, allegedly. That is not the location, but it is close. This is why I'm telling you, Kendrick did his research. Kendrick hasn't spent enough time in Toronto or knowing some of these things that he could mention this without him having some research done. So let it play a little bit, and then I'm going to show you what's going on.
Located at the corner of College and Beatrice Street. He was on a date with a woman who was...
Okay, before we get into that, I want to show you something. We're going to Google it. We're going to do it live. College and Beatrice Street, Toronto. You guys could Google this yourself. That's why I like to do it live. I don't have no special information. I just know how to put two and two together. Type that in, hit enter. You're going to get something like this. That's an intersection. By the way, when Drake was robbed, let me see if I can find that affidavit. I'm going to find the affidavit real quick. We need the affidavit. The affidavit, that's where they mention the intersection of Beatrice and College Street. Where is it? Okay, here we go. Okay. Okay. Now, well, this is for the charges, but if you read any website, like, look, Drake robbed 2009. Let's find one of the original articles that always... Okay, this is one of the original articles right here. It was posted in 2010, but it's all good. On May 31st, Drake, blah, 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 blah. Here we go. Drake left the restaurant with a woman, blah, 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 and walked down Beatrice Street, okay? Now, this was important. It says Drake was enjoying an evening at a restaurant in Little Italy at the corner of College and Beatrice Street. This is why we typed in, and y'all can do it yourself. I don't got no special information. College and Beatrice Street. This is how it looks current day in Toronto. So they're saying Drake was robbed along this street. Let me give y'all a little 360 tour. Something here. So maybe I'm not even sure if the Italian restaurant still exists. La Cantina. Oh, who knows? Let's go up here a little bit. Okay. Remember, this is definitely like 15 years later. This is 100% 15 years later, right? So they're saying that Drake was over here when he got robbed. Now, the important thing about this, right, the important thing about this is going to be this. Give me 1 second. And I want you to watch everything I'm doing because I'm doing it live. College Beatrice Street. It's an intersection in Toronto. Now, let's look at the directions. So he says College and Beatrice. That's where Drake got robbed. Let's look at New Ho King. Let's see how far that is. Now you see it. 7 minutes. Essentially, Drake got robbed here. Let me make this a little bit smaller. Drake got robbed here, and Kendrick rapped about a place here. Now, the reason why I'm saying Kendrick did his research, you could be dense and be like, oh, no, this is random. Toronto is small, but not that small, okay? Literally, like, this here and here are pretty close. Now, why I believe he mentioned New Ho King is to remind Drake, nigga, I know about what the fuck you was up to before you got popular in the U.S. So it's a reminder that he got robbed in 2009 here. But the New Ho King spot is more profound because of this.
Was having dinner at a
So let me just play this. I'm going to play this for another 2 minutes and I'm going to go to another video.
restaurant in Toronto's Little Italy, located at the corner of College and Beatrice Street. He was on a date with a woman who was named Chantel Brown. After enjoying their meal and a night out, the two left the restaurant and walked to an SUV that was parked across the street. Drake got into his car, and moments later, two armed men suddenly approached the vehicle with guns drawn and started banging them on the window. Drake opened the door, and they then aimed their weapons at his face, demanding that he gave up his jewelry and anything else he had. Without much choices, Drake handed over his diamond gold chain, which rapper Lil Wayne had recently gifted to him, along with an expensive Audemars watch and $2,000 in US cash. The woman Chantel was sitting in the passenger seat at this point, but before the suspects could make their way to her, a man that was exiting the same restaurant, named Nicholas Carino, noticed the robbery and yelled at the gunman to get the F back. Apparently spooked, the two suspects quickly jumped into a nearby getaway car with the stolen goods. The car then sped southbound down Beatrice Street, but it wouldn't get too far. A short time later, the same car was stopped by police for driving the wrong way down a one-way street. Once stopped, two people jumped out of the vehicle and began running in an attempt to escape. One person still remained in the car, the driver, and he managed to speed off. After a brief foot chase with police, one of the running suspects was apprehended. The driver of the getaway car was eventually tracked down and also arrested, but the second suspect who escaped on foot was never caught and ultimately got away. The two who were caught, though, were identified as Paul Letatui and Socrates Cotterwell, ages unknown. They were both charged with armed robbery, conspiracy to commit armed robbery, 3 counts of pointing a firearm, and possession of stolen property. As far as the items that were robbed from Drake, the police managed to recover the chain, the watch, and about $1,330, but they never found the guns that were allegedly used in the crime, which ended up being detrimental to the case. Now this is when some controversy begins. It's claimed that Drake himself was the one who pressed charges on the men.
Okay, so it goes into this whole thing, to be fair, that Drake gave a statement but later rescinded it, and they believe that Drake only rescinded it because he wanted, like, he knew he was going to be famous. So if you're telling, that would hurt your career. Anyway, it's not the interesting part of the story, okay? Because remember, we're trying to connect it to why did Kendrick mention New Ho King? Remember, I just gave you the map. Drake got robbed here, or walking like down the street, or maybe somewhere in the vicinity. Let's put a circle around here. Why is Kendrick rapping about a place that's here? Interested. I think he rapped about here to let Drake know, I know about you getting robbed, but that's light. This is why I believe he rapped about New Ho King. I'm going to now introduce some things to you guys that you might not know. Do y'all remember what year Drake started referring to Toronto? You know, there was a time Drake never really, I won't say claimed that he was Canadian or whatever, but the pride wasn't there for a while. And then after a while, he started saying, I'm the six. I'm from the six, running through my six with my woes. I'm the six god. Do y'all remember that time? Hey, listen, we're having a conversation. I got to read the comments. Let me pull this bitch up. Should I pull up Rumble? Rumble probably got the real shit, right? Or should I pull up YouTube or maybe Twitch? Y'all tell me where it has the best comments. Okay. All right. So, let me spare y'all the suspense. What ended up happening, and this is why New Ho King becomes a point of interest. No disrespect to the people going there. Their fried rice is not better than nobody else's fried rice. Okay? They don't got no pork rolls or whatever the fuck y'all be eating at these spots. That is really good. Kendrick did his research and his homework on Drake. Not only did Drake get robbed, probably about, look, we did the research. Look, 7 minutes away. When Drake started adopting this whole thing that Toronto was the six, and he started putting that on wax, there was a guy who, not too sure if he was maybe not with Drake calling Toronto the six, but he wanted to let it be known who he felt, according to him, was the realest in the six. Enter a rapper who's local to Toronto named Sizzlack. And he dropped a song called Realist in the Sixth. Now, I don't know if I can play the whole thing, but we're going to look at a few pieces of this video.
And started rapping.
You're going to notice really quickly what's going on. Heavily featured in the video.
These niggas seen what you know.
Heavily featured in this video. Heavily featured in this video.
We the realest in the
Heavily featured in the video. And what is he saying?
We the realest in the six.
Enters the facility. Right?
The realest in the six. In the six. In the
He's seen pictured in the corner, smoking.
that shit. Do hit.
Now, to be fair, Sizzlack was someone who was beefing with multiple people. Now, some people believe this song was a diss song to Drake, but it wasn't only Drake. If you don't notice, this is a guy who's working a job because they're selling hats or whatever the fuck. He's having this guy throw down a gang symbol. You usually know the reference when somebody throws down a symbol to disrespect. He probably doesn't know what he's doing. The person who had him do it and recorded him is making a point. Anyway, I want to keep this short for y'all. To keep it short, what ended up happening is that Sizzlack, okay, died not too long after making this video. He passed away. He was actually murdered elsewhere, but like he passed away. This is important because this whole thing about New Ho King gets very deep. Now, let's see if we can find. Here we go. Now, New Ho King comes up again when you look up Sizzlack. Shout out to this guy right here. I don't know who he is, but He's on
or
point.
LV. It's said that Sizlak was some sort of revolutionary, starting a movement. IDS is a ruthless gang, but some members have found themselves on the other end of the gun as well. A popular rapper and fellow member Young Dubs, who Sizlak had a track with, was shot and killed on a Brampton driveway in May of 2017. The killing seemingly also being tied to a gang feud.
Let me
But
fast forward a bit.
miraculously, in the end, he walked free of both murders. Now, I couldn't find out if the co-accused, Justin Bellinger's charges were dropped too, but they likely were, because he was a free man a few years down the road, around October of 2016, when
This
he
is
was
about
arrested
Sizlak.
in an undercover fentanyl drug bust. Since Sizlak got out virtually unscathed, it's possible Justin's case had the same outcome. Regrettably, he found himself locked up again anyways. As for Sizlak, beating the case only boosted his recognition in the city. It also seemed to boost his ego, because he gloats about the outcome of his case, with lyrics in his song, What You Know About Me, rapping about how Gucci Mane only caught one body, but he beat a case for two. Sizlak wasn't charged for the two murders, so technically he was innocent of the crime, but word of mouth seemed to say otherwise, and this hearsay only solidified his existing reputation in Rexdale. About a year later in 2010, he decided to create IDS. So fast forward a bit to 2012 now. It's been a few years since IDS was founded, and they've become an established gang. This is the year Sizlak made his introduction to YouTube, hopping on the track IDS. He and other members of the gang musically started picking up traction. 2 years later, in 2014, he would release his single What You Know About Me, and do solid numbers. He remained silent for 2 years, before he would release his song with the most notoriety, Realist in the Six, which brings us to our next event in the timeline.
Remember,
On top of the general idea of the song, which is basically claiming he's the realist in the six amongst all others, there's more to it. Now this song turned out to be a diss track, aimed at a couple rival gangs. All throughout the video, members can be seen constantly pointing 3 fingers down, a clear diss to 3L, also known as the Driftwood Crips. Sizlak even goes as far as making the clerk of a store do the gesture too. There are also a few more subtle shots in the video, such as Sizlak constantly lighting up a cigarette, referring to smoking a pack or smoking an enemy. This is obviously a shot at not only 3L, but any fallen rivals to IDS. These mentioned disses aren't the only ones that seem to exist in this video.
remember, New Ho King.
In the beginning clips, Sizlak enters a Chinese restaurant named New Ho King, located in the Spadina and College area.
Remember, by the way, this video was made 3 years ago. Remember, that video was made 3 years ago. Remember when I started my stream, for anybody who on Rumble or on Twitch, remember I played a song called Attachment. I couldn't believe it. Let's Attachments Presser lyrics. I just want to show you there's no coincidences in this shit. This is Attachment Presser. Y'all all know I love this song. I couldn't believe it. Soon as I bought my Cuban chain, she called me back. Soon as I ice out my wrist, she got attached. And COD, you see this glizzy got attachments for all the bitch ass niggas that try to circle back. Now I don't know Slugger. Slugger got hit up in a party. He did a dance. Sizlak dead. They don't post him on the gram. Who does Presser associate himself with? We all know Drake took him on his first big tour when he was supposedly a guy either under an investigation or caught up with some shit in Toronto. Okay? I'm spelling it out for y'all. I'm spelling it out for y'all. Y'all should, okay. Drake's man's Presser, this is the guy Sizlak in his most famous song. That guy, before he died, his last music video is in front of this one Chinese restaurant.
With Crips. Sizlak even goes as far as making the clerk of a store do the gesture too. There are also a few more subtle shots in the video, such as Sizlak constantly lighting up a cigarette, referring to smoking a pack or smoking an enemy. This is obviously a shot at not only 3L, but any fallen rivals of IDS. These mentioned disses aren't the only ones that seem to exist in this video. In the
This is how the hell does he know about New Ho King?
beginning clips, Sizak enters a Chinese restaurant named New Ho King, located in the Spadina and College area. Underneath the surface, this restaurant may have some sort of connection with a Parkdale gang.
This is also important.
Underneath the surface, this restaurant may have some sort of connection with a Parkdale gang known as HOK, or Heart of a King gang. It's possible that Sizak simply being there was a jab at the gang. By Sizak smoking in the restaurant, as well as in the alleyway located behind it, he illustrates that he may not only be linked to a fallen HOK member, but that he's also pretty relaxed and comfortable on their turf. New Ho King is the same scene where a few HOK members, including their leader, shot and killed 2 innocent men for apparently no reason in January 2016. It was honestly a brutal killing, and I cover this.
Now, this is why I keep telling y'all, if y'all think Kendrick is stupid and Kendrick is just saying shit, even though I know he lied when he says, I'm not calling around about to get dirt on you. Kendrick already did the research, people. Look, the place he named has no notoriety for food. What everybody in Toronto tell me, it's an after-hour spot. When everybody get drunk and all the clubs is done, you go there, you get something to eat. The food ain't the best, blah, blah, but it serves the purpose. It's the last spot open. What it's really known for? We just showed the Sizzlack thing. We just showed this.
It was Saturday night clubbing. It was nearing 3 a.m. and the clubs were closing, so most people decided to call it a night, but some wanted to continue partying. That was the case for 3 friends, 31-year-old Stuart Douglas, 29-year-old Quentin Taylor, and 26-year-old David Emines. The trio roamed the streets of Kensington Market, looking for an after-hours party that they could get into. They made their way onto Spadina Avenue, where they saw a large group of men standing outside of a Chinese restaurant named New Ho King. Where they saw a large group of men standing outside of a Chinese restaurant named New Ho King. The pack of friends approached the group, seeking the directions to a local party. One of the friends, Stuart, asked one of the men for directions. Instead of getting a reply to the question, some type of altercation ensued between the 2 groups. One of the men ended up pulling out a gun and opened fire. Stuart was shot in his head at point blank range and fell. The shooter then targeted his friends, Quinn and David, and shot them both.
The point I'm trying to tell y'all, and y'all can watch all these videos. New Ho King has been really responsible and known for violence and a lot of gang activity. Multiple people have been shot dead in front of it. It's only ever been mentioned in reports about it being the spot open late night and then niggas fucking shit up by committing violence. Just to let y'all know that.
Multiple times before they even had a chance to run. Another suspect ended up firing at the duo as well, with upwards of 15 shots being fired. Chaos ensued as people in the...
Okay. We don't need to keep doing too much. But when there's a part of the lyrics where he says, I'm not going to call around to, get some info on you. I'm telling you already that Kendrick has done his due diligence. He's already done the work. Okay? We'll get to a few other things. Now, let's get to a few other, and this is what I'm saying. I ain't gonna lie, Kendrick low key, like, I don't know why, but he teased a lot of tea, right? I now have good authority to say that allegedly Drake hit up Kendrick, and First Person Shooter should have been a song with Drake, Cole, and Kendrick. Now, if you think about this entire timeline and beef with that in mind, makes sense. So, First Person Shooter, Drake hit up Kendrick to say, hey, we got to open for you. It's me and Cole. Come holla at me. Do the song. Kendrick doesn't do the song. Then he hears the song, and the song is a bunch of niggas who's talking about me and you is a Spider-Man meme and blah, 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 blah. And he says, man, these bum-ass niggas who couldn't get a feature from me is now acting like they're number one and number two. Fuck both of them. That is what I am hearing. That is what I'm hearing, people. I'm hearing that First Person Shooter was a song intended to be with the big three. I'm hearing that verses were reworked because Kendrick did not respond to the feature request. I'm hearing, and by the way, none of this is from Drake. I have not asked Drake about this. So, I know some people now feel like I'm OVO's spokesperson. I have not asked Drake about this, and to be honest, I would rather not ask him about it because I don't want to get on my speculation shit. You feel me? So leave Drake out of this. This is just me speculating based on what I've heard from very reputable sources that's connected to other people. So if you listen to allegedly a part of especially Cole's verse, that verse was intended to be, yo, I'm here with my brothers and we're the best. But I still feel I'm the best, but we're the best. We the big three like we started a league. It's just me, K-Dot, and Aubrey. What did he say on that? I hear if you listen to Cole's verse, you will hear what the original intention of the song was. Love when they argue the hardest MC, is it K-Dot, Aubrey, or me? Allegedly because Kendrick was already being told to J. Cole that he was going to be on the record. Because I'm not going to lie, this did feel like glazing. You're on a song with Drake. Why the hell, if you're going to talk about any ranking, you're saying love when we argue the hardest MC, and then you name the person who's not on the record first? Is it K-Dot, Aubrey, or me? That's what I'm hearing. So this whole love when they argue the hardest MC, is it K-Dot, Aubrey, or me? Allegedly, Kendrick was intended to be on the song. From what I'm hearing, he might have said no. And then he hears the verses where niggas is basically saying, the Spider-Man meme is me looking at Drake. It's like we recruited your homies to be demon deacons. We got them attending your wake. And from what I'm hearing, Kendrick got upset because, yes, he turned down the feature because Kendrick got smoke with Drake. But once he heard them talking like it's just them two, he said, all right, fuck it. My next verse, I'm about to say, man, fuck the big three. It's just Big Me. That's what I'm hearing. Yeah, Colin Aubrey, no, I'm a selfish nigga. The crown is heavy, huh? I pray they're my real friends. If not, I'm wind up be Melly. It's 3 goats left, and I seen 2 of them kissing and hugging on stage. Love him to death, and in 8 bars, I explained that phrase. Almost saying he fucks with them niggas, but he ain't with that shit. Okay. So now we kind of get this new whole king thing. But it's not over. Now, we're going to get back to this where he says, fabricating stories on the family front because you heard Mr. Morale, a pathetic master manipulator, I can smell the tails on you now. He's basically saying that Drake is lying about anything that has to do with his wife. We're going to see if Drake tries to double down or if he just backs out of that. Okay. Where is that part about? Okay. Here we go. All right. So now he also says, hey, have you ever played Have You Ever? Sorry. Have you ever played Have You Ever? That's that right? Have you ever played Have You Ever? Okay, nigga, let's play. Have you ever walked your enemy down with a poker face? Have you ever paid 500,000 to an open case? Now, what I realize he's talking about is the story of Drake paying off sexual assault. So, this is a story. And by the way, hey, I'm being all the way upfront and honest because I got y'all. Now, I know in Kendrick's bars he says, have you ever paid 500,000 to an open case? I know when you see this thing, it says he paid 350,000, but what ended up it being was that I don't know if they were overseas or whatever the case is, but you're gonna see it. You know, there was a lot of New Zealand blogs who posted that it was 500,000 because they were going by their currency. So Drake literally paid out 350,000 American, but there was like a bunch of like New Zealand and like this was more popular. I don't even know what Drake did like media wise then. Actually, I think I know. Anyway, nobody in the U.S. cared about this. People overseas covered it. And that's why you see the overseas blogs who covered it saying, nah, he got to pay out this amount American. Then they'll put the amount in their native, like, barriers or their native, currency. Now, let me see if I can find. Let me see if I can find it. Because I'm going to have to explain everything to y'all. Okay. Let me explain. So Drake goes on tour. He meets a woman named Layla Lace. Layla Lace. He apparently fucks her, and then after he cuts her off, she comes out and says, well, in reality, sex with you was not consensual. Okay? Now, let me put it into perspective. She's saying Drake had her like in another country or whatever, flew her out, and she didn't want to fuck him. There's some details of this, like, sexual encounter. Here we go. Here we go. The person said that Drake forced him to perform oral sex and it wasn't ordinary. Says Drake was more into the fetish, where he measured a cup and demanded that she spit in a cup until he measured it. Afterwards, he dumped the spit on my face repeatedly, says he wants to see her face messy. Then she states that being in the incident happening in the UK, she had to file a police report over there. So she was saying that it wasn't consensual. The police basically cleared Drake. They said, yo, we have no proof that it wasn't consensual. We cannot take this to court. However, this story didn't die. What ended up happening is that the woman later tried to get more money from she tried to get more money from not Ross, from Drake, and Drake eventually basically got to the point of suing her, and because she had multiple lawsuits on Drake and Drake had a lawsuit on her, they settled for some undetermined amount. Some people believe it's for hundreds of thousands. Some people believe it was for nothing. Okay? So, let me see if I can find. I'm trying to see if I can find it. Okay. Now, the same girl went on to claim she was pregnant for Drake and this and third, which is like, if you're saying he raped you, why are you doing mad interviews about you being pregnant with his kid when it wasn't the time he raped you?
How sure are you that you're pregnant by Drake and not somebody else?
Let me tell you something. And I'm going to just make this clear because, I have been asked that before.
Mm-hmm.
I have a child, okay?
Okay.
I'm a mother already, okay? I know who I sleep with unprotected, period.
Mm.
So, it's 100% sure. He knows it. So, at the end of the day, I'm going to just leave it as that,
And when you approached him about it, because you told him you were pregnant.
Right.
What was his response to that information?
He pretty much was just like, oh, what's wrong? And then I told him, and then he pretty much was like, I'm going to call you back. And the phone call was just...
Okay. So the woman claims that Drake raped her by forcing her to give him head. Which that's a really weird claim, just to be honest. He forced you to suck his cock. He forced you to suck his cock. All right, bet, cool. Then she claimed that she was pregnant. Then she exposed him by saying, oh, he's not trying to take care of the kid, so fuck him. Anyway. Let's go.
Okay, guys, so get this. Drake and a woman who accused him of sexual assault earlier this year have settled their dispute. According to TMZ, Drake filed legal documents on Friday, November 30th, that state accuser Layla Lace is prohibited from making statements alleging or insinuating that Drake assaulted her. Lace made the initial claims in April 2017. She alleged the Toronto superstar raped and impregnated her after a one-night stand. After taking those claims to SiriusXM and ultimately the authorities, Drake sued her for civil extortion, defamation, and fraud. Now, with the lawsuit behind him, Drake is hoping to move forward with his life. The filing made by Drake against Layla Lace has been resolved, with Layla avoiding going to trial by agreeing to a stipulated judgment which prohibits her from repeating past statements she made against Drake, celebrity attorney Larry Stein told TMZ.
Okay. To make it not long-winded, the woman basically claimed she was pregnant. Then she claimed he raped her. Then she claimed she was pregnant. She's clout chasing, full-on clout chasing. Okay.
Agreeing to a stipulated judgment which prohibits her from.
So after the clout chasing, Drake offers her about like $120,000 or $150,000, saying, "Yo, you know what? My career is going up. Please don't ever mention this again. I'm going to pay you to not mention this, and I'm going to go on my life." Except she decided that no. She was going to break that agreement, and that's why you see more legal action happening with her now, because she didn't want to adhere to like any type of warning saying you can't talk about Drake because he paid you.
Repeating past statements she made against Drake, celebrity attorney Larry Stein told TMZ. Drake and his team are satisfied with this outcome, and while Drake appreciates the support he has received, he asked that his fans and the media allow both parties to move on with their lives. The judge has yet to sign off on their agreement. So what do you guys think? Were y'all ready for Adonis baby number 2? Or do y'all think Drake just needs to start strapping up more?
Okay. And this is not me playing PR, but this is just me being a man. Yo, check this out. Shorty said that Drake forced her to suck his dick without her permission. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, chat. Yeah, like, you know, if it was, you know, vaginal penetration, I'd be like, oh shit, whatever. You're telling me he forced you to suck his dick? That's a little bit unbelievable, but still, let's say I'm going with it for the story. So he forced you to suck his dick. You claim he raped you. Before you fully claim that, you started fucking with him because, yes, these people are fucking with the people who they're accusing. And now, after he paid you to shut up because he got a career, and this is the part I didn't say, right? Drake allegedly not only like paid these women to like shut the fuck up, he realized they were clout chasing so much, he had to try to go at them on some civil suit shit because they're lying. So it's like, what do you do if you're Drake? Let me play this again.
Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit that subscribe.
Okay. All right.
How sure are you that you're pregnant?
Last week, a request for money, and men and women both are left too vulnerable to public opinion, and they lose a lot of money and a lot of peace of mind on a mere accusation.
I mean, I agree with that, and I think Drake is going in the right direction, but honestly, we got to get some blame on these women too. Sisters, don't be mad at me after this. I'm sorry, but...
Oh, I thought that was the girl. No, right? Let's try to find the girl. This was her. Basically, essentially, Drake had to sue her for lying on him and like trying to ruin his reputation. They settled. Apparently, she did get some more money, but Drake tried to sue this chick. He basically said you're lying, but he's worth way too much to battle this out in the court of public opinion. He probably paid her maybe like $100,000 after he already paid her to shut the fuck up about some other shit. And now, you know, I mean, obviously Kendrick Lamar is gonna try to allude to that. Remember, he didn't pay $500,000. He paid 350,000, but like when it goes to like, you know, New Zealand and these other currencies, it goes to 500,000. So that's pretty much what it is. Anyway, cool. All right. We kind of got it. All right. So all right. So let's see what else that Kendrick mentioned. And by the way, this was like a super embarrassing error for Drake. It says this how Drake texts. This how Drake was texting that girl. This is her. This is her. This is him. Hey, this was at the. I guess she sent him a picture. This was at the Vibe magazine yesterday. What do you think? And he was like, whoa. And then she was like, thank you, babe. And it's like, you look sexy. Oh, thank you. You sweet. I better see you soon. Or you could pull up on this blonde hair. And he says, nah, for real. I'll be missing you. And he said, babe, I'll be missing you. Blah, blah, blah. This is like the average, like, full-on cap that women have to deal with because dudes is lying. Oh, shit. Speaking of which. Yo, what's the new music that dropped today? Is there anything good? Wow. Not playing defense, bro. Like, I'm just like being honest. Like, yo, y'all always think somebody's dick sucking or dick pulling or something like that. No, it's not. All right. Anyway, these are Drake text messages back in the day to this girl who claimed that, you know what I mean? Like, this was a weird claim. You claimed he raped you, then you had consensual sex with him, then you were like trying to like have like it's kind of weird. Anyway, this is her saying, "Hey babe, good morning." He says, "Hi love. So what do you want me to do? Pay for a flight or to get out there to you?" He says, not at all. I wouldn't expect that. Just gotta find some days that work. She says, well, I'm gonna try to make an effort to see you. Just try to find the days that we're good. He says, then she says, I'll meet you halfway. I miss you. He says, LOL, I miss you too. I will try. Schedule is just crazy. By the way, this is 2017. Drake is coming off views. Like, come on, bro. Like, what are we doing? Then this was Drake right here, supposedly. She says, hello, how are you doing? This is Layla, blah, blah, blah. He says, just landed. Hold on. Give me 1 second.